What's going on, guys? For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Ty, and today in this video, I want to talk about the DCU and the future of this franchise going forward. Superman finally came out, the cat is out of the bag, everyone's finally gotten to see it, people are raving over it, people are loving it, it's being very successful at the box office right now. It just has a lot of momentum going forward, and even just this franchise as a whole, I feel like a lot of people are very excited. Today, we got a bunch of news, whether it was the Supergirl's first poster that looked awesome, apparently a Wonder Woman movie is being fast-tracked now. There's the new Batman, Brave and the Bold, that's going to be coming out. Apparently, the Batman Part 2 script is great, but either way, we're going to be talking about all things DCU. I know I just mentioned the Batman Part 2, but still, we'll talk about that in a little bit, and just where I see it going forward, the projects that are coming up, and kind of just like a free-form discussion about this franchise so far, but let me just start off by saying this. First of all, obviously, I just watched Superman. It was my most anticipated film of the year. And I absolutely loved it. It totally lived up to the hype. I'm stuttering over here. I loved it so much. I've seen it 2 times so far. Honestly, it's a 5-star film for me. I could understand why it's not for other people. Like, I do think it has some issues, but I just genuinely loved it. And at the end of the day, if I just love a film with my whole heart, it's a 5-star movie for me. And I try to be very, particular with what I give 5 stars, but right now it's a 5-star film for me. I think it's one of the better comic book films to ever come out. Maybe is it not top 5 or top 10? Sure, but it's around that range, man. I'm not going to act like it's that far off. I just loved it. I think James Gunn's so great. He's obviously at the helm of this ship. He's the captain of the ship, I should say, leading the DCU. But I also want to just talk about the other projects, of course, like I just said, going forward. But I feel like it did a good job of just establishing this world, at least to the masses, because just taking one step back quickly before we actually move forward, we've got to talk about Creature Commandos, the little appetizer that really did kick off this universe. I really enjoyed Creature Commandos. It was a bit more darker, a bit more gothic. I really enjoyed all the characters. The animation style was really awesome. I'm not really like an anime person. I don't want to say that this is anime because obviously it's just animated, but I feel like it did have like a quicker style to it that I really did enjoy, again, with the animation style, and the colors were great, and again, it was a very emotional story. It just built out a little bit of this world, but didn't do anything too crazy. Stakes weren't insanely high, like maybe sure, like kind of for the story, but I'm just saying that when it comes to the grand scheme of this world, it's not like you needed to watch Creature Commandos or you were going to miss out on something in Superman or something like that, but basically just gave us a little taste. Then again, moving on to Superman, obviously it was awesome, but I still feel like it didn't really set anything up for this world, which is okay. Like, sure, maybe we'll see in the future that it actually did and we just didn't know at the time, but I just think it was just a great film, and that's all you needed. You just needed to make a good movie. You needed to get the trust back with DC fans and the general public, and also hopefully make some money. Obviously, the money isn't super important. It's not like this needs to make $1 billion, but it's having a pretty successful box office appearance right now, or performance, I should say. So, yeah, I think that's just a pretty hot start for the DCU. And honestly, it just feels so amazing knowing that the next DCU project is literally coming out like 1 month after Superman with Peacemaker Season 2. Obviously, Peacemaker Season 1 wasn't really in the DCU, it was in the DCEU, but apparently they're going to explain how Season 2 kind of correlates to this new universe and how they're going to pull Peacemaker in. But either way, Peacemaker was in Superman. He had like a little cameo. I mean, if you want to call that a spoiler, fine, but it's been over a week at this point since the movie's come out. But listen, this is the thing. Peacemaker Season 2, super excited for it. Apparently, James Gunn teased there's actually going to be some hints as to where this universe is going, but I still don't really care in the grand scheme of things about where this universe is going right now, just because I just want to see good projects. Have a good Superman movie. Yeah, have some other characters in there. Make it feel like a lived-in world. Have a good Peacemaker Season 2, right? Bring him into this new universe and tell your own story. Then from there, because again, I'm sure that Peacemaker Season 2 is going to be pretty good. We've seen some footage. If it's on the same level as the first season, which I'm sure it will be, I'm sure it's going to be great. We've got Lanterns coming out, which is the Green Lantern show with Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. You got Aaron Pierre, Kyle Chandler. Nathan Fillion's going to be returning as Guy Gardner again, who's also going to be in Peacemaker Season 2. I like how all these characters are starting to move around because Frank Grillo is also going to be in Peacemaker Season 2, and he was in Superman and Creature Commandos, so you're getting that connective tissue throughout these products, these projects, which I really like. Not products, they technically are products from the studio's perspective, but I think it's going to be really awesome. Apparently, it's going to be like True Detective, which I'm really down with, a bit darker, a bit more gritty, and I heard that it's going to be like Grounded, which I actually really like that approach. Like, I like the fact that apparently it's going to be like this murder mystery on Earth with Green Lanterns. That just seems cool. Listen, not everything needs to be space battles and the world's going to blow up. Maybe this would be like a gritty, like conspiracy type of story, because apparently they're like uncovering some secret I absolutely love mystery stories and like conspiracy stories and just all that type of stuff where there's just corruption. I love stories like that. So I'm really excited to see what they do with this. We've had literally no teases for this yet, so we don't know really what's gonna be going on in this show, like from a plot perspective. We haven't seen them really in the suits or anything. We got like one little teaser photo, but realistically we don't know that much, but I am very excited. And then from there, the next two projects we got to talk about quickly is Supergirl and Clayface, and then we'll get into more like the freeform discussion about this universe. But Supergirl, just to go over it really quick, I'm very excited for Supergirl. I think that almost has potential to be better than Superman because you've got Craig Gillespie, I want to say, is going to be the director who did like I, Tonya. He just makes these really great films. And then the writer, Anna, I don't know her last name, but she's also writing the Teen Titans script. Apparently the script was just so good that it blew James Gunn away. And that's the reason that he wanted to get out as quick as possible. Not in like a rushing way, but he wanted it to be the second film because apparently it was just so great. He was like, we need to make this movie now. So that makes me feel good. If there's going to be like a cosmic, darker story with Kara, I believe her name is, or Kara, who obviously we saw at the end of Superman, a little tease there, which I really enjoyed. Again, I don't need like post-credit scenes and this and that, but, you know, just give me a little tease, throw me a little bone. I like seeing her. Millie Alcock, of course, is just awesome. I watched her in House of the Dragon. Of course, it's not like she's been in too much, but at the same time, I like that she's still relatively unknown. You know, she still obviously is a name, but I think she's going to be awesome. If this really goes into like the cosmic wonders of the universe, kind of like Doctor Strange, where it has like all those crazy visuals, I think that would be so cool, especially if Crypto's in it. Man, I think it just has a lot of potential. And then from there, you've got Clayface, which is apparently going to be like smaller scale. It's going to be a bit more of like a horror film, a body horror film. Mike Flanagan wrote the script. I'm excited for Clayface, man. I think that especially, like, this shows the range of the DCU, how there's no DCU formula. This is just going to be a crazy, wacky comic book universe, and I'm really excited to see this film. Again, not too many details. Is Batman going to show up? Probably not, but yeah. From there, I think it's time just to kind of talk about some speculations and, like, the real interesting, juicy stuff here, because a Wonder Woman movie is being fast-tracked as of today with DC Studios. Now, fast-tracked doesn't mean, oh my god, we need to get this movie out the door. No. Fast-tracked just means okay, it's time to kick it into high gear. Let's put all of our focus and attention and resources into this movie. Basically, it's just saying, okay, let's get things going, which isn't rushing a movie. It's just saying, hey, we want to make this movie, you know what I mean? We want to put a lot of resources into it. Let's get things moving, which is fine. I think that's honestly a good idea. If you have your script down, or maybe it's like you just need a couple tweaks, let's get moving on it. You know, why do we have to waste any more time? Especially because in 2026, we have Supergirl, we have Clayface. We're already halfway through 2025, so we're only a year and a half away from like the end of 2026. And guess what's at the end of 2026? The start of 2027. We don't know any DCU films coming out in 2027. The Batman Part 2, which I don't think is going to be in the DCU, but we don't have another film there. Apparently they're going to do like 2 films per year, so is it going to be the Wonder Woman film in 2027? 2 years away. That's a pretty reasonable turnaround. Maybe if it's like the second half of 2027, and then maybe another film comes out the first half of 2027, I think that would be absolutely awesome. But what's the other film going to be is the real question. What else is going to be coming out? Obviously, there has to be some type of team-up, because James Gunn's teased, like, a World's Finest, or just some type of Superman sequel. Is the Superman sequel going to be a standalone with just David Cornsweet? Is it going to be alongside, Supergirl? Is it going to be alongside Batman? Is it going to be the Batman movie, just like as our next film? We really don't know, and I'm sure we're going to get like some type of announcement soon. And then there's all those other shows that were announced, like Waller. You've got Swamp Thing as the movie. You've got The Authority. Just all these other things. Booster Gold. There's the Blue Beetle animated series. All this other stuff. Some other animated series were just announced like a couple weeks or months ago. So there's a lot more things coming out. But one thing that I just want to say really quick, just to make very clear, I really don't want them to rush to like the central narrative of this universe. I would love for them to just put out like 3 or 4 movies over the course of the next 2 or 2.5 years that are just good. There's some overlap, right? You've got Supergirl showing up in Superman, then she's going to be in her movie. You've got Frank Grillo's Rick Flag kind of bouncing around movies. Nathan Fillion, he's bouncing around different projects. You've got that connective tissue, but don't worry about setting up Thanos yet. We don't need Darkseid. We don't need, Brainiac. Let's just breathe for a minute, okay? We don't need Batman v Superman as our second movie in our universe, okay? Because some people have already tried that, believe it or not, because they wanted to catch up to Marvel. And believe it or not, it did not work. Let's just breathe. Let's spend 2 years just building up this universe. We don't need that central narrative yet. Let's look at the MCU, okay? Believe it or not, the MCU obviously did this pretty well. In Phase 1, there was technically this road to bring the Avengers together, but when you look at Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and Hulk, those movies that were like right before the Avengers, and I think Iron Man 2 also, it's not like there was any real connective tissue there. They were all just like their own movies, they did their own things, and it was obvious that they were going to be pulled together. But it's not like, okay, now Superman needs to be connected to Supergirl, which needs to be connected to Clayface, which needs to be connected to Wonder Woman, which also needs to be connected to like the Lanterns and this and that. Let's build this world out while showing how everything connects without actually setting up some type of narrative, some type of through line that someone is coming. We don't need that yet. Let's just breathe. Let's take a step back. No sequels yet, you know what I mean? We don't need Superman 2 like tomorrow. Let's just take our time to build this world out. Build up some main pillar characters like your Wonder Woman, your Superman, your Supergirl, your Batman. Even maybe Aaron Pierre as Jon Stewart. Whoever you're going to just base this franchise on. I look at the MCU. I don't know why I said that like a football coach. I was like, base this franchise on. Listen, I look at the MCU, right? You've got your main 6 Avengers. But they had so many pillars holding up this damn franchise. The Guardians of the Galaxy, monster pillar. Even Ant-Man, another pillar of this franchise. They were able to just build so many solid, just important characters. Do that with the DCU. Again, you don't need that central narrative yet. Let's just build up the world, then we'll pull stuff together. Okay? Let's put out good projects. I'm not sitting here thinking, oh my god, what's the post-credit scene going to be for this movie? No, I just want to enjoy the movie that I'm seeing, if that makes sense. Honestly, admittedly, I did that a bit for Superman, right? I was like, oh man, I wonder what the post-credit scene is going to be. Didn't tease anything. And honestly, a week later after seeing it, I'm happy they did it. Because honestly, it gives them more freedom too, to where they don't write themselves into a corner like, oh no, but in the post-credit scene we put this. Now we have to include this character, we have to do this storyline because it's in the movie. No, they have a lot more freedom. Honestly, just let the fans wait. We'll be fine, I promise. Don't set yourself up for something that honestly you're not going to end up delivering on. From there, though, I look at something like The Brave and the Bold. That's a film that's in a quite a weird scenario right now because there's the whole Batman Part 2 debate. I just rewatched the Batman Part 2, or no, well, God, I wish. I watched the Batman again, my favorite film of all time, potentially. I'm going to be honest, I just don't think, like in my dreams, I'm like, yes, I want to see Robert Pattinson's Batman and David Corn Sweat talk to each other in a movie, but in reality, I just don't think they're going to mesh, and I would rather just have this incredibly rich Batman universe stay on its own, because I can't see this gritty, disgusting, incredibly perfect Batman universe be in the same universe as where Metropolis is like splitting in half, and there's like a black hole, and there's clones, and there's Guy Gardner, and there's Crypto, and I just don't think that works personally. And again, I want to see them interact. It's like a guilty pleasure almost, where I'm like, God, I would love to see one conversation, but I don't know if I really want to combine them. I'd almost rather see a worse Batman, slightly, that's a bit more fantastical, and he's just that universe's Batman, and we could have two going at the same time, because, again, the Batman trilogy is only going to be a trilogy, probably, maybe with, like, one more show, they're not going to go past that, so don't drag it, don't bring it into here. I think Robert Pattinson, honestly, is too good for the DCU as an actor. I mean, I don't want to sound like that, but he's in the prime of his career. It feels like he's really hitting his stride now, where he's going to be in The Odyssey, he's going to be in Dune 3, he's going to be in the Batman Part 2. Like, he's truly hitting his peak right now. Let's not tie him down to a DC universe, right? I love superhero films, and I love Robert Pattinson's Batman. It's one of my favorite characters of all time. But it's one of these things where, like, if I could get 3 movies, my life will be complete. That's all I want. I don't need him dancing around in the Batman costume for 15 years. Let's just leave it at that. Because now I look at someone like Robert Downey Jr., where he had his ending. He played the damn character for 11 years, and just when you thought he was out, they pulled him right back in. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want that. And also, one thing I just want to bring up, here, I do not want, and I know that James Gunn knows this, I do not want some multiversal story for the DCU. Please, God, do not have a multiversal story, because then death doesn't matter. then characters just disappearing doesn't matter. It feels like we could just get anyone at any time and they can move around anywhere. Please don't do that. I know there is like the pocket dimensions. Apparently in Peacemaker Season 2 there's going to be like alternate reality stuff, but if they just want to use that as like a one-time thing where it's like, okay, that's how we're pulling Peacemaker over to this universe, fine, and then the portal closes forever and there is no other universe, fine. But please God, don't set up a multiverse thing, because I can't deal with the cameos and the cash grab stuff, the gimmicks. Please God, just worry about good storytelling. As long as you've got good storytelling, good characters, I'm going to love this universe. And I'm already in love with this universe, and we have one movie and one show. And I cannot wait for Peacemaker Season 2, especially like, you know, it's going to be a good show, right? But I can't sit here and act like I'm not excited to see what it's going to set up for the future, because James Gunn literally just said in an interview, yeah, Peacemaker Season 2, you actually get a hint of what's coming up for, like, the rest of this universe, like the central narrative. And just to give us a little tease, you know, throw us a crumb. I'm not saying, you know I just said that I don't want to see the central narrative yet, but just to give us a little tease, that's pretty cool, right? As fans, you still got to keep us pleased. So, very excited for the future of this universe. I think it's going to be great. But guys, let me know what you guys think about the DCU down below. And yeah, man, I could not be more excited. Honestly, I'm pretty much more excited for the DCU than the MCU. I'll say it. The MCU is my favorite franchise, but it's just the reality. I'm not like super excited for Fantastic Four. Avengers Doomsday, it seems like production is a mess right now. Who knows what's going on with Spider-Man 4? So, yeah. I don't mean to be hating on them, but just saying, super excited for the DCU. Let's go, baby. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.